British police are the best in the world. I don't believe one of these stories I've heard about them raiding gay pubs for no reason at all, lining the customers up by the wall, picking out people and knocking them down, resisting arrest as they're kicked to the ground, searching their houses and calling them queer. I don't believe that sort of thing happened here. So won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. There was a nightmare that blamed on the gays. It was brutal and lethal and slowly invades. The medical facts were ignored or forgot by bigots who thought it the judgment of God. Attacked by the Vatican, even today. Turns out it's not always good to be gay. Now HIV's treatable, it's not a death wish. Still misinformation when spread is hard to dismiss. So won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Still, for many years now, we've fought for the right for people to love just whoever they like and to hold an identity that's true to them. It's not black or white or just women or men. If gay liberation means freedom for all, then we fight for all voices, no matter how small. It's getting debated in Parliament courts. What bathroom you use is now matter of law. So won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way.
Hello, 1 2 1 2. Oh God.
And how far we've got over the years since '78 when this.
All right then, let's bring this stream to a start because I am ready to go. Let's see if this works. Oh, we're here. Right, let me just move me about a little bit. I feel like my camera's moved since I practiced this. All right, how are we all feeling today? I have a live feed of the chat. I don't know whether it works, but it's worth a try, isn't it? So if you want to chat to me, feel free, and I will answer as many questions as I can as we go along. Is it this way? I feel like it needs to be this way. That's it. Right, so, yes, welcome to Deconstructing Behind the Songs, sorry. This is a series I used to do quite a while ago, back in like 2020 when we were locked down, and this new tune I've brought out has loads of really, really cool things that I really want to show you guys. And it's also not doing that well in terms of streams. So this is an attempt to get you to listen to the song and to hear all the cool things that are going on with it. And also to, show you a few tricks and tips that you can use. I am just going to turn off my Focusrite thing. Hold on. Because there's an air setting here. There we go. That should sound better for you. That sounds better to me. Does that sound better to you? Do let me know. The YouTube is a minute behind Twitch. Uh, it's multi-streaming, so at some point the messages will come onto my little screen that way. I think I'm mirrored. Oh God, I've got a little thing that collates all the things. Right, okay, enough of that. Right, let's get on with it then. So this is a song called "Glad to Be Gay." It was released originally in 1978 by the great Tom Robinson of the Tom Robinson Band. He does that song 2, 4, 6, 8, Never Too Late, which is a banging tune. But it's He also did quite a lot of other songs that he should be remembered much more fondly for. And it was about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, when I discovered this song on a Spotify playlist. Actually, it came up in one of my Discover Weeklies or something, and I absolutely loved it. The original version from 1980, something like that was the first version. And it wasn't until a few years later that I found out that this song kept getting rewrote, something like that. So it kept getting turned into a new version of the song, which matters a lot to me because I really care about folk music and the idea of folk music being the music of the people and it being able to be rewritten. Yes. Basically being able to be passed down from generation to generation, becoming more and more relevant. So this song... Anyway, it gets revised over the years. He had a verse about HIV. He added a verse about the fact that the press were going after queer people, people like George Michael and that. There's actually this brilliant website. I will pull it up. Can I? Oh, there's my Adobe. It's called gladtobegay.net. And this wonderful website will show you all you need to know about this song. I'll let you go and find it yourself, but it's a very good read, and you can go through and find all the different versions. The original version played in 1975. You know, an acoustic version from 1967, the unreleased demo, and then it starts to sort of talk about the original version. And these are all versions that Tom Robinson released. So yeah, there are lots of different versions, and each time he talks about how he changed it. So, like in the is it Secret Policeman's Ball version? He changes the words to be a bit more inclusive of like lesbians and stuff like that, and to mention that you know, in the there's other versions as well, like this version he did a cappella, and he added this version, which is a verse that I put into mine in a slightly different way. So yeah, it's well worth going and checking out this website if you want to learn a bit more about this song. I spent a lot of time going through each and every one of these and looking at how the song changed. And the latest version he's got is an acoustic version released in 2004. I can't find any other modern versions of this, so this is the last version that he recorded as far as I'm aware. Although I do know he still plays it live, so I'm sure he's been revising it over the years and comment on it like I have. Anyway, I wanted to show you that website, gladtobegay.net. It also has an interview with Tom Robinson about the song. You can download every version that they talk about as well. So yeah, it's well worth thingy. There's a whole verse as well. I won't go into this, but there's a whole verse about Peter Wells who ended up in prison because he was gay. There's a lot to learn basically. So I would recommend going on and checking out gladtobegay.net to learn a bit more about this song. But that's not what we're doing today. We are looking at this song and how I've produced it and how I have put my own twist on it, really. So yes, looking forward to showing you a little bit more about this. So have you all listened to the song? If you wanna comment, by the way, it does come up on my little comment feed, which is there. I'm mirrored. I'm not used to being mirrored. Hold on, it's the other way. So it is there for me. So if you see me looking over that way, well, not over that way. If you see me looking over that way, I'm looking at my comments. Right, let's stop talking nonsense and get into it, shall we? Right, so Glad to Be Gay. My vision with this song was to take. In fact, can we play a little bit of the original? I'm sure we won't get into too much trouble for playing a tiny little bit of the original version. There we go. Right. So this is the original. It's a lot more.
It's a medical song, and it concerns the truth.
It's a very jolly version, so to speak.
Sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're.
I'm not going to play any more of that because I'll get copyright stroke. I'll do the 79 version as well. Very similar, but
It's there in the paper. It must be the truth. So sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're.
so basically this song has always been quite jolly in the way it's performed, as far as I'm aware. But the words are very, very biting. It's very much a criticism on queer culture and on the way that people can sort of like put forward this sort of pride sort of like image to themselves, and then, you know, eventually hide it at home and not tell their family because it makes life easier for them. And that's what this song is about. So I thought I would take it and make it more cynical and kind of really exaggerate these bitter, biting words. In the original, there's a line where they say, make sure your boyfriend's at least 21, so only your friends and your family get done, which is about the fact that you couldn't legally... the age of consent was 18 for females, but it was and for straight people, but the age of consent for gay people was 21 for a fair bit of time. I think it was only like 2003 that got changed. And so these biting lyrics were being presented in this very jolly way, and I decided I wanted to bring that into a more intimate setting so that these words really spoke through. So I'm going to stop talking nonsense for a while, and we'll talk about the production, and then when it comes into the new stuff I've written, I'll talk a bit more about the rewrite that I did with Tom Robinson's Blessing. But first, let's have a look at the song. So it opens with this lovely acoustic guitar. I didn't press play, hold on. Here we go.
The British police are the best in the world.
Right,
I don't believe one of
I'm going to talk a bit about what's going on. So I recorded a acoustic guitar. It is this acoustic guitar. Well, it's not this one. I've got two of them. This one's in a weird alternate tuning, and the other one is in standard. So it is the other version of this, but it's like Epiphone EJ 200, something like that, 250. I'm not sure. And the way it works, let's see if I didn't plug this in, but let's see if I can get a sound out of it. So the way this song works is it's got this sort of like ascending bit that happens, and that was an absolute nightmare to get right. But it's recorded with an acoustic guitar. I actually, the acoustic guitar you hear isn't the first take I took. The first take I took is down here in this. You won't be able to see that on Twitch. Hold on, let me move that so that you can see it down here in this corner called original guitar. I've got to put myself back there now. Hold on. Can I Command and Z? Oh dear. There we go. I can put myself back there nice and easy. So let me play the original scratch demo take. The original guitar. Is it muted out there as well? Oh, they're turned off. That's why. All right, let's turn it on. Might take a moment for it to get all the things in. So, this guitar I took, and the reason I didn't keep the original guitar is because it is too time stretched. Because I did this thing called free record. You can do that up here in Logic. Again, I don't think Twitch can see, but there's a little button which means you can record without having to worry about how quickly or slowly you play to the click, because then it either syncs it all to one click or it moves the tempo around, and I did the latter. As you can see here, lots of tempo mappings that come throughout the song because I played it live on my acoustic. So let's hear this original acoustic take. I haven't listened to this in a while. So this is the original acoustic guitar sound. Which isn't actually a very good acoustic guitar sound, to be honest. But yeah, you can hear when I turn these off and go back to the original. There we
Picking
go.
out people,
It's a lot clearer,
knocking
a lot
them down,
cleaner.
resisting arrest as they're kicked to the ground.
So yeah, I
Searching their
recorded
house.
that. Oh, there we go. I recorded that on a lovely Valve mic that I own. I don't have it in this room, otherwise I'd show it you. And I recorded it about that far away from me, just underneath the guitar, giving me a nice little sort of like clear, clean tone. Let's have a look at the processing on that acoustic guitar as well, so you can sort of see what's going on. Let's open up my mix window. God, look at this. Look at this. This is a James Harriman mixdown. So we've got Ozone doing some, I think that's compression. Oh, no, it's not on the right channel. There we go. You can see it now. Ozone giving us some downward compression on the acoustic guitar, I think. Yeah, just taking out some nasty frequencies there. Soothe. This is one of my new favourite plugins, actually. So, so Soothe is a plugin that takes away harsh frequencies, and it literally just does exactly what you tell it to on the tin. It listens to it, so if I press Delta, it'll show me all the sounds that it's taking out. Can you hear that? If you've not got headphones on, you might not be able to hear it. So there you go, it's taking that out. James has just mentioned, so it's taking out the boxiness and it's taking out some of the nasty frequencies. James has just mentioned that the original guitar sounds a lot more closer to concert pitch, which means in tune. And he's not wrong, because I took that second guitar, I took it very sort of like hastily. It wasn't meant to be the final guitar take. I was just getting so sick of the time stretch sound which was happening, which you can't hear at the start because I didn't speed the start up, but you can hear towards the end. You could hear this sound from the guitar being sort of like squashed and pulled out of what it was meant to be playing. And yeah, what ended up happening was I took the guitar, but I didn't tune the guitar properly because I let it fall out of tune. I think it was a new set of strings, and it just fell out of tune. And the final take I ended up taking was slightly out of tune, which is why it doesn't sound that good at the start. Thanks for pointing that out, James. You're wonderful. Right, what's going on? Where were we? We were looking at my guitar mixing, weren't we? Here we go. Right. Let's go down that channel. Then I've got some Soothe 2, Ozone again, pulling out some high frequencies. This is a dynamic EQ as well. So what a dynamic EQ means is that it's not always affecting it. It's only affecting it when I tell it to affect it. So you can see it's sort of like when I press play. Are we looping every time? No, we're not. You can see it just kicking in there when it's hitting the right part of the threshold. You can see it doing it a bit better there. It's hitting the threshold. It's hitting the threshold, and the threshold is then ducking it down. It's pretty standard. It's what I've been using a lot more to try and make it so that the sound doesn't get completely crushed when EQing, because I tend to take out too much when I EQ, so that kind of solves that problem. Oh, I didn't realise that input was on. Let's take that out. No input. Hopefully you can still hear me. Right. What else is going on? And then there's some limiting going on because it gets a little bit too quiet at points, so I'll push that up. Yes. So the having a slightly out of tune guitar on this song isn't the worst thing in the world because it adds to the emotion. I'll talk about tuning in a minute because I do some weird things with tuning on this song when it comes to the vocal. And so having this sort of like authenticity, this sort of natural sound going on isn't the worst thing in the world. And then, yeah, another instance of Soothe 2, taking out little bits of guitar. I have plastered Soothe over this because it is great at getting rid of and fixing bad guitar recordings. And then on the master of that, so there's two mics going into it as well. I record the DI and I record the actual mic. And then, yeah, this is an L2 maximizer. It's one of my favourite, was one of my favourite plugins back in the day. I don't use it as much anymore. And all it's doing is squashing the sound. It's got a unique sound to it. I like the sound of it. Another instance of Soothe. Probably used too much Soothe on this guitar, but hey ho, there's probably a reason for it. Bit of EQ down here. I think all of these surgical EQs you're seeing are because there's one frequency that pokes out in the mix. I don't think it's over EQing. I think it's because when I've come to do the final mix down, I've gone, oh god, that frequency is overpowering at the end. At the end, it gets very loud. It starts really soft, and it gets really loud at the end. So that'll be that. And then, what's that? Just a low cut. So yeah, that's what's going on with the guitar. What else is going on around this time?
Method blamed on the gaze. It was brutal.
Bass. Should we just go? Let's ignore the orchestra for now, because I'll do that at the end, because that's the most fun part, and we all enjoy looking at the orchestra. Let's look at the bass. So the bass, I am running complete control. It's not a real bass. It is the session bassist Icon bass. I love this bass. I've been using it a lot more in my productions since it came out, probably about half a year ago. So I'll play a little bit of that bass for you. Doesn't sound that good on its own, but when you put everything else in the mix, it makes sense. Sometimes something that doesn't sound that great isolated will sound fantastic in the mix. Also these low notes here, which will go down the octave. No, it won't, because it's the first verse. But it's got that nice sort of like mid-low tone, which works really nice with the acoustic guitar. Literally just using it very, very basically in this thingy. You know, we've got some settings here that I will have changed. I won't go over them, but like, you know, a bit of compression, bit crushing, because why not? There's the low note. Bit of tape, some EQ going on. It's pretty standard without the effects. There you go. It sounds a lot when you add all the effects in. And then it's going through guitar rig as well, which is just putting a cabinet on it. You know, sometimes these built-in-the-box effects. I swear by built-in-the-box effects, but sometimes the built-in-the-box effects don't sound that great on their own. You have to just put them through an amp cab or something, and it just tidies it all up, makes it sound like a real guitar would. And that's the goal with instruments like that. You've got to make it sound realistic, even if it's not a real instrument. That's where a lot of people who program their stuff fail. So that's a little tip for you. Put yourself a guitar cab emulation or a bass amp emulation. Logic's got built-in pre-ones. I personally prefer to use Guitar Rig just because it's a little bit more customizable, but you know, you can just put it all together and make it sound real. Even if it sounds terrible, put the bass amp cab on it, it'll probably sound decent. Right, and when you put that with the acoustic guitar, you see why there's that low cut on the acoustic guitar now as well. It sort of like blends the sound together. Right, what else have we got going on? We've got the what else have we got? Guitar. Oh yeah, there's a second guitar going on somewhere. What's going on there? What is going on there? I don't know what's going on there. Sometimes I don't label things and I forget what they do. Right, let's look at these electric guitars. So there are quite a few electric guitars here. For a change, they are all played live. I don't usually play my electric guitars live. I normally program them with a similar complete control thing, but I wanted this to be, as we said earlier, we wanted the sound to be natural. We wanted it to feel like it was real. And so the whole song kind of breathes with the tempo, and programming that would be near to impossible. So I played on, I have got it here, hold on. Oops. Pay no attention to the table falling down behind me. On my electric guitar, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Bear with. So I played it on this one. This is a Fender Telecaster Squire. So it's a cheap one, but it's not that cheap. It's a nice guitar. It's just a little bit cheap, cheaper than the 500 quid model. But it has Duncan design pickups on, which are really, really nice for getting a heavy sound, which you'll hear in a second. And yeah, I'm just playing this guitar. I'm not going to put it away now. I'm just going to put it behind me because I can't be bothered to put it away properly. Oh, it's going to live there now. Sorry for you having to look at the mess behind me. Right, so what's going on with those electric guitars? Let's find out. Oh gosh, I forgot that I've got all this open. There we go. Best thing you can do with big projects like this has 44 tracks on it, something like that, which for me is quite low. Normally I hit 100 on a song like this, but with something like this, you can do what's called track stacking. So I'll show you, say with the bass, if we right click, go create track stack, and create a track stack, and create a summing stack, not a folder stack, a summing stack, it essentially pulls it into this little sort of like sub menu that you can see here now. And the reason you want to do that is because it means that you don't have to have everything shown at once. Well, that's two reasons. So look, 40 odd tracks has gone down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 folders. It makes mixing easier because you can sort of like mix down subgroups. And it also means you can affect stuff. So like there's some acoustic guitar processing. There's a lot of vocal processing going on there. Yeah, all the orchestra stuff. If I span that, you've got all this down in that. So yeah, that's why I use that. Anyway, let's solo that and have a listen to what's going on. See, this nice sort of wide vibe. Is my computer still in mono? Bear with me. Is my computer still in mono? It might still be in mono. Play stereo audio as mono. It's not in mono. Maybe the stream's summing down to mono. I don't know. Hopefully you can hear a bit of width in the sound that we're hearing out there. So yeah, there are a couple of guitars going on. This is going into Guitar Rig, which is a bit more complex than the previous one. It's a compressor. Just going to pause this a second. So there's a compressor there. There is a solid EQ, which I've got this in plugin form. It's recently been put into Guitar Rig, and it is a really, really nice EQ. What's best about it is that it's got this high shelf or high high bell, whatever you want to use it for, and this frequency can go all the way up to like 8,000k, which is really, really nice for getting bite in acoustic guitars and electric guitars. And you got your high pass and that. It's just really nice analog emulation stuff, and it does change the sound slightly, and that's now available in Guitar Rig 7. Would recommend, even if you buy Guitar Rig 7 and put it on your mix bus. Although you can buy solid EQ as a separate solid EQ. You can buy it as a separate plugin. Is it going to show up? Probably not. There you go. You can buy it as a separate plugin as well. I use that all the time on electric guitars, because it's really tasty. All right. And then we're going into a Fender Deluxe. I mean, they call it the Reverb Delight, but it's a Fender Deluxe head with a bit of reverb. Match cabinet, which again, the whole point of that is just to be a sound. This noise machine I've turned off. Raw, which is a reverb, and then compression to pull out the reverb. So yeah, it's a nice guitar tone, and that's the tone for most of these electric guitars you're hearing. Again here, exact same thing, probably with a little bit less reverb. This here is a VC2A compressor, which is another Native Instruments plugin. It's another Native Instruments plugin, and I mix a lot with Native Instruments because Native Instruments are very good at emulating, or they were one of the best at emulating all the analog gear and getting it to sound nice and warm instead of nice and crunchy. A lot of other people have managed to do that now, but in 2016, when I bought all their plugins, they were the best. They still are, in my opinion. They're really, really good. I use other things, I use Sound Toys now a lot to get vintage sounds and like grit into my compression and into stuff like that. But this Native Instruments stuff is still really solid, so I'd recommend checking that out. What I'm doing here, this is a VC2A. I mean, those of you that know compressors will know exactly which one this one is emulating. I can't be asked to go and find out exactly which one it is, but you know which one it is. It's the white one, which is an optical compressor. It's a lot softer, so it's only compressing a little bit. And yeah, that's compressing. Notice there's no threshold. There's no threshold on this plugin because that compressor didn't have one. You just push sound into it and then pull down the peak reduction, and yeah, I'm talking too much. Let's have a look at the electric guitar for later on in the song. Again, this is just I think this is there's a bit of gain there to push it into the Guitar Rig. There's Guitar Rig here. Different thing. It's there's a compressor, EQ. This is a Marshall amp if you hadn't worked that much out, giving it a little bit of guitar. Isn't that really nice thing? And listen to how it crunches here. It crunches so nice. When you put that in with all the other guitars, it sounds really tasty. It's distorting a little bit, isn't it? Just a little bit. Let's turn that down. And you take that and you combine it with... We'll take that and combine it with the acoustic guitar. You get this really nice big sound, which I wanted from just the guitars. And then when you obviously add everything else in, what was important was to get this foundation of this sort of like string driving thing before I added all the orchestra and all that nonsense in. So let's have a listen to that. Notice how that heavy electric guitar didn't come in earlier because it wasn't needed. It's that last chorus that it comes in on because that's when it needs the oomph. It's a 5-minute song, so you gotta hold elements back, and the orchestral stuff again. I will talk about the orchestral stuff. The orchestral stuff, it was all about building a soundscape over time, but you also do that with things like your guitars and your other elements in the song. So earlier on in the song you'll have heard something a lot softer. You see what I mean? It's a big change from the end to the start. So yeah, that's your electric guitars. There's not really much more to talk about. There was one take that got taken out, and I'll show you that now. In this electric guitar, there was this higher octave thing that happened in the final chorus. I'll give it a little play, and then I'll tell you why I took it out. Is it going to play? There you go. Really nice, almost surf guitar. I think there was more tremolo going on it, so it's very wide. If I put that in with everything else, so can anyone work out why it got taken out? Go on, put it in the comments. If anyone can work out why it was taken out, I'll give it a second. I could do with a drink anyway. Get in the comments. Is anyone watching on TikTok? I don't know. Well, if anyone can... Oh, have I got comments? No, I've got a bunch of people joining. That's what I got. Sorry, while I'm waiting for you to answer me, any news? Right, let's go back to this song anyway. There we go. Right, I'm back. Sorry, so the reason that I took that out was because that got lost in the mix. And it was taking up space that wasn't needed. So as much as I liked that high sound, that and I made a mistake in the take. I hit a chord wrong, and re-recording something after the fact is really hard. And I hadn't spotted that it was wrong. So that was one of the reasons. But the main reason was because when you put everything else in the mix, it just did not add anything. You took it out. Normally I say if you take something out, you can tell. But in this case, you couldn't. And I was just sat there going, no point doing this, so I might as well just let it be and take it out. And the other guitars are doing more than enough work. Right. Let's talk about my vocals. I hate my vocals. What are these other guitars? Oh yeah, there's a couple of other guitars that never made it to the mix. Let's have a look at them before we look at my vocals. Definitely not filling time. These are acoustic guitars, yep, that have been basically recorded to try and thicken out the sound. Here we go. Really nice stereo sound, actually. I love the stereo on this. Do you ever just regret a decision you made? Did you hear them in the mix? But if I put them into the mix now, you'll understand why I took them out, and I'll take them out and you'll hear basically it was too much. There was too much going on, and pardon me, too much going on, and by adding those in, it just filled out the stereo space too much, because all the strings and all the beautiful woodwind stuff was happening. It just wasn't working. So I'll put them in the mix and then I'll take them out, and you'll, for once, you won't miss, well, you might miss it. You might miss it. I do miss that lovely stereo guitar. But what you'll realise is that you need that space. You need that space to be able to let it breathe. So let me play that for you.
And won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're happy that way.
I'll take them out now.
Sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Sing if you're glad to be.
So yes, they do add something, but also they kind of take control of the mix, and it's just, sometimes you've got to make a choice as a producer to take something out to let everything else take the front. And because there's all that beautiful orchestral stuff going on, I just didn't want that guitar take that was not quite in time, not quite working for me, to take the center. And so yeah, that's why those aren't there. And actually, I kind of, looking back, re-looking at the project, I do regret taking them out, because I do really like that sound. But also, it meant that earlier on in the song, when you listened again, it felt weaker, because those double-tracked guitars weren't there. So, yeah, swings and roundabouts. Right, let's have a look at my vocal. So, the point of this vocal was to tell a story. My lovely friend JT Leon, sometimes I send tracks to friends of mine to have a listen to, and just to check that it makes sense and it sounds good, and I'm not just putting something out there for the sake of it. And my lovely friend JT Leon, who you should go out and check on all the platforms, makes really great queer, alt pop, and folk music. Anyway, I sent it to him because we were talking, and he said, it's almost like a theatre vocal, but you're not taking it to the point of camp. Something along those lines. I'm sure he'd put it in his own words better, but he's right. I'm doing a almost like theatrical musical theatre vocal take without taking it to that level of musical theatre. It's very rare you get to hear my isolated vocals. So here we go. Here's the vocal, and take a listen to how I'll play this first bit, and I'll show you why I've done this in a minute as well. But let's play this first bit so you can hear how soft the vocal is right at the start. Let's put it across.
The British police are the best in the world. I don't believe one of these stories I've heard about them raiding gay pubs for no reason at all. Lining the customers up by the wall, Impala picking out people and knocking them down, resisting arrest as they're kicked to the ground, searching their houses and calling them queer. I don't believe that sort of thing happened here.
Right, so there is my vocal. So what's going on? well, we've got Nectar auto level, just pulling it up and down, sort of like taking it and putting it where I want. So, like, particularly in these earlier takes, it's pulling it up. You can see.
And raiding gay pubs for no reason at all.
You're
Lining
not going to
the
be able to say it live
customers.
because there's so much going on that this project has a delay compensation ridiculously high. There's your standard low cut going on there. Soothe 2, my new favourite plugin. It is everywhere on this mix. Taking out
Lining the customers.
the harshness.
By the wall, picking out people.
I'd really recommend if there was any plugin for a producer to look at buying, it's Soothe 2. Honestly, it has massively changed and sped up my workflow process because I am not having to go through and pull out those frequencies manually. I just slap it on, find what I want, listen to the delta so I can hear what it's taking out, choose how much I want to take it out, and then obviously the sharpness and the attack and the release I can fix those, but it makes my life easier because it gets rid of those frequencies a lot quicker than I would. And then there's a limiter pushing the volume up because I recorded the take very badly. Well, I didn't. What I did was I sat in this room with a mic about here, and I stood back here, and I sang into the mic, but not into the mic. I sang around the mic, so to speak, which is why the tone changes. Because as I got louder, it picked up different parts of the room and the reverb, and I love the way it was taken. That being said, it was a nightmare to mix, and that's why we've got different versions here, and each of these will have like a slightly different EQ with more bass or less bass. There you go, that's taking out a couple of harsh frequencies from the room. That one's got, again, the same thing, but probably a slightly different thing on the auto level. So, like, it's each one of these verses is slightly different. One thing I did debate with for a while on my vocal was how processed to make it, because I don't really like over processing my vocals, or the opposite way round too. Does that make sense? So I like to have a clean vocal, but I do not like the sound of my vocal on its own. So I'm hoping that's a pro-queer message. If it is, high five. If it's not, go away. I think that's a positive. Yes, demon hybrids are lying on purpose. I think what they're doing is posting a positive queer message. I'm just gonna guess they're posting a positive queer message. If you are, cheers for the support. If you're not, go away. Right. Anyway, back to it. So I was saying, I'm just not gonna listen to my YouTube comments. I'm hoping that it's gonna end. Gender is located in the soul. That I can agree with. Pro queer rights, hell yes. Right, okay, back to me. We're looking about me. We're talking about me. Right, so anyway, I don't like my voice being sort of like isolated on its own. So I sent all of this. God, there's a lot going on there as well. Channel EQs. It's all processing, and I do little bits of processing, lots. There's a de-esser there. It's just the way I mix. I probably could do it better, but it's the way I mix, and if it's the way I mix, then it's the way it's going to be, isn't it? There's a compressor there, not fully compressing. It's quite a high compression, but it's mixed in. So what that essentially means is that if you compress a lot and then pull down the output so that the mix knob is at this point it's 58%, this knob here, it'll mean that you can get a compressed sound without losing the authenticity of the original sound. And I've used the vintage optical compressor on my vocal. This is just what my go-to on Logic for my vocal. Short attack, relatively short release. Sometimes a longer release if it's a longer sound, but this is quite a bitey, attacky sound. This is emulating an optical compressor similar to the one I was using earlier. I could have used a digital compressor. That would have been a lot more transparent. I could have used the Studio FET. That would have been a lot more aggressive. I chose to use the optical compressor because optical compressors are softer. So if that's a thing to take home, it's have a play about with which ones of these you use, because not all compressors are made equal. In fact, they're deliberately not made the same, so they sound differently. I'm not going to show you, but go and experiment with that. Right, okay. And yeah, bit of compression, and you'll never guess what. My favourite plugin. Yay, Soothe 2. I don't know why there's two on top of themselves doing exactly the same thing. That's probably not meant to be there, but hey ho. If it sounds good in the mix, it sounds good in the mix. Right. What else have we got? We've got the sound going to two reverbs. One is the general reverb, which everything is going to. Which sounds a bit like this. This is just like a room for everything to go into. Everything goes to that. It's a mix thing. So I send everything to a reverb. So yeah, actually, let's explain what I'm doing there, because I feel like we're reaching a point where I think I need to put my lights on. Hold on. So the reason that I send everything to a reverb is it's a trick I've been doing since COVID. It's something that basically means that all of the sounds are in the same place. So even though they weren't all recorded at the same time, they all feel like they're in the same venue, so to speak. Does that make sense? Let's make those white and turn them up. There you go. You can see me again. The sun's gone down. So essentially, and I use the RC24 by Native Instruments to do this, because it's a really nice little reverb. And it's really, really good at being a tiny little reverb and emulating rooms. Really nice digital but analog sounding reverb. Does what it says on the tin. Anyway, I send everything to it. So like the bass, the acoustic guitar, the electric guitar, and it's a tiny room. It's designed to be a space for people to have been playing in the studio. You can get emulations with Native Instruments of places like, Abbey Road Studios and stuff. And that's all well and good, but for this case, I just wanted a tiny room. I'll play that to you again now that I've explained what I was doing with it, and you'll get what I mean. And certain things are being sent more than others because they would be louder or closer to the mic where the mic was picking up the reverb, if that makes sense. You can hear that width. Remind me and I'll try and remember to take that out in a minute so you can hear how much of a difference it makes to the authentic sound. In the meantime, so that's what's going on with my vocal. And then I am sending to this beautiful plugin, which I bought specifically for this song, which is CLA Epic. Now, I've been using this one's little brother, which is Echosphere. Yeah, CLA Echosphere for quite a long time. So this is Echosphere, this is Epic. You can see the difference. Basically, this is a bigger version of this. It was free. I got it for free from Waves on a Black Friday. Always go visit waves.com near Black Friday and they will give you a free plugin pretty much every year in an attempt to sell you more plugins. The catch is it's not actually free because you have to pay for the update plan. That's how they get you. But really nice free plugin. I didn't pay for it, or at least I didn't pay for it at the time. You know, I'd got a plate and a slap, and I was quite happy with that. But over the time working on this track, I was like, oh, but I need something subtle to complement my vocal. So we've got essentially like 4 different delays going on, and we've got 4 different reverbs going on, and that's how effect sphere, echo sphere, epic, sorry, that's what this one's called. That's how Epic works, is it uses different delays to create a large sound. So we've got, in this case, I'll solo each of these effects. So we've got
Well, we march down the streets.
got like a, you can hear that, it's like a tape delay, a slap back.
And if you spread hate in our way.
That's muted, so you won't hear that one. This is like a slap back, so this is like a reverb. Can you hear that? It's like a slightly different delay. Then there's another one which is like a doubler. You can hear that if you've got headphones on. There you go. And then 3 different reverbs. So you've got like a plate, which is quite subtle. You can't even hear that one. I think it must be turned off. Oh, that one was a wider one. There you go. But yes, you got different. Again, quite a subtle reverb. And so what happens is they all feed into each other and work with each other to make this sort of like very wide, very subtle, and at the same time very cleverly open and big sound, which supports my vocal without getting in the way. Does that make sense? So, alright, we'll use the first line as an example.
I don't believe one of these
When you put the actual take
stories
in.
I've heard about them raiding gay pubs for no
But if
reason
I
at all.
take CLA Epic out,
Lining the customers up by the wall, picking out people and knocking them down, resisting arrest
go.
as they're kicked to the ground, searching their houses
how
and calling them
vulnerable does that
queer.
sound?
I don't believe that sort of thing happened here.
There's the reverb in.
Picking out people
And then
and knocking
CLA
them
Epic
down,
is coming in now.
resisting arrest as they're kicked to the ground, searching their houses and calling them queer. I don't believe.
So yeah, that's the that's what's going on with the vocal. It's supporting it, and this plugin, CLA Epic, CLA Epic, or this tiny little plugin, CLA Echosphere. Again, I think, don't tell them. I think this is the same thing. I think, look at the design. It looks like the same thing. They're both emulating. They're both designed to emulate very similar reverbs. But yeah, that's what's going on with the vocal. And then, as I said, you notice the delay more as the song goes on because the sound gets louder, and it becomes more obvious because there's more sound being fed into the delay. Does that make sense?
Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy.
But it's not getting in the way. It's not getting in the way. Like, even on this final take, it's not getting in the way.
Sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way.
Now, the other...
Sing!
Thank you, James. The other thing I forgot to say about is this is peaking. That was not intentional. I recorded this as a scratch vocal and then fell in love with it. And so, as you can see, these are very hot takes, so to speak.
Shout, we are here and we stand for all rights. And if you spread hate,
you can hear that saturation in there already. And what it essentially is I record on a valve mic. What a valve mic is a microphone that has tubes in it. So it's not like this one, which is a dynamic microphone. It sort of just moves like that. Maybe don't do that on stream. It moves forward and backward, and it's just a plate vibrating. With a valve mic, it's like a guitar amp. It's sending the sound through little tubes, and the more signal you push through those tubes, the more it distorts, and the more it distorts, the more crunch you get. Now, there are good use cases for it, such as this one. You can also do it without deliberately meaning to, which is what I did. But it turned out all right in the end. I mean, you can hear this. You can hear the distortion coming from the tube amp that it goes into. But I think it works.
sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy.
Some of that is me. Some of that is me sort of like doing a sort of like raptor. But most of it is actually coming from the distortion. I even tried putting trash on it. So this is Isotope's distortion plugin. Now, in the end, I didn't use it. Let's find out why. I'll play it back and we'll find out why.
Their hate speech.
Here we go.
You sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay.
So I tried, I'll play that again without trash.
Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing.
So what trash was doing in that take, and I decided it was too much, was just saturating this frequency here and just really pushing it. Same on the higher and the lower ends. We were distorting it even more, because if you've got some nice saturation, you might as well play with it. Am I right? But yeah, I decided against that in the final mix. I thought it lost some of the clarity. And yeah, that's what's going on with the vocal. Lots going on. If anything to take away from the vocal, it's that an optical compressor on the vocal is always really nice. You can copy my settings if you really want to, but I would advise just checking it out yourself and messing about with it, because my vocal reacts differently to yours. You know, I've got quite a harsh vocal, quite a deep vocal. You might be a lot softer, but optical compressors are lovely on vocals. And the other thing I'd recommend, obviously, go out and buy Soothe. Soothe is a lifesaver. And yeah, look at CLA Epic for vocals. Really, really recommend this. I can't wait to record some more vocals and try it out myself on something else, because, you know, these 4 or 5 delays and all the presets sound amazing, particularly for rock stuff. Really recommend that. Right, shall we get on to what everyone has been looking forward to, which is the orchestral parts? Yes, we shall, is the answer to that. So these orchestral parts, originally I wanted this song to just be me and my vocal. That was my original plan. Hold on, let me give me 3 seconds. I'm going to plug in my light, because I'm going a little bit pale, aren't I? Hold on. Where are you, light? Where's the light gone? I'm going crazy. Just slightly. There it is. Press this button. Hopefully it'll light me up. There we go. Should have turned that on at the start, really. There you go. You can see me again now. Right, so I need to round this up in the next half an hour or so as well, so my neighbours don't complain. Right, so we've got a lot going on. I'm going to play the orchestra at the end so you hear everything at once. And then let's see. If you've got any questions, by the way, feel free to ask. People haven't really asked that many questions this time, but these streams are designed to be as interactive as possible. So if you've got a question, do let me know. Here is the big orchestral part at the end, and then I'll take it apart and show you what's going into it and how it develops through the song. So fun. I love this. Oh, someone subbed to me on Twitch while that was happening. Just check that out while I'm talking to you. Someone must have subbed to me or something. I just saw like a big thing come up. Anyway, so yeah, this is the ending of Glad to Be Gay. Let's go back to the start though. So it starts with just the acoustic guitar, and then I bring in this very, very subtle string part. Now, all of these parts have ridiculous amounts of automation on them. Can I find it? Is it the aftertouch? No, it's not the aftertouch. It will be expression then, maybe. No, where is it? I can't find it. But there is a lot of automation going on to sort of like you can see it there actually. You can see it on the actual MIDI files going on to essentially to there it is down at the bottom. You can see it's bringing in volume automation to make it sound natural. I'll explain why in a minute, but let's play a little bit of this coming in here. So this comes in on Attack by the da, 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 da. So this is Complete Control. It's going to be Symphony Essential, Symphony Series, String Ensemble, Symphony Series. That was a mouthful, wasn't it? You can see it moving here. You'll see it move up now-ish. There you go. So there's automation going on. This is a nice little string part that I wrote. I'm not doing anything in terms of articulation or anything like that, because it's just like legato phrases going on to sort of bring waviness into the air. So yeah, that's going into a UAD compressor as well. Again, bought this the other week and it's a really nice compressor. Would recommend it. And it's all going to that reverb channel, that RC24 that I was on about. Right, there's so much going on I need to show you. This is a piano from Complete Control. I have, again, Native Instruments. If you get the complete bundle, you get so many nice things. And one of the nice things you get is like all their pianos. I actually subscribe to the 365 bundle now, so I've just got Claire, which is an even nicer piano. This is the Giant. The reason I picked the Giant out of all the instruments is because this big section coming towards the end where it goes how far we've got over the years, I wanted a really thudding sort of like part in it. And I knew it needed to be something that hit, not a bass, because the actual thudding of the instrument is what gives it the oomph. And the Giant, not the Grandeur. The Grandeur is the big, lovely, beautiful grand piano sound. The Giant is a giant piano, and you'll hear it here when it kicks into the bass notes. You'll hear that big thudding bass. resonance that it's got. I just really wanted that sort of like attacky bass sound, which most pianos don't have, but the Giant has a really nice percussive bass sound. Anyway, it's a nice subtle piano. You know, there's nothing too special about it. There's a bit of stuff going on in terms of the settings, but it's a pretty standard sound. You can also sort of like up the resonances and stuff like that. So I won't go too much into it, but it's a nice piano. Doing these really nice chords underneath everything. So yeah, I've showed you the strings. The woodwind, surprise, is also symphony ensemble. I know that. Symphony series. I recently upgraded from the essential version of this to the full version of this. The reason I did that was because you get more options with the mixer. So like this is the full version, and you can sort of like pick the close mics, the mid mics, the far mics. I didn't with this one, but I definitely did with the strings. If I load those up, go into the mixer view, there you go. So I sort of went, yes, I want the close mics, which are the mics that are right next to the instruments, all the way up to get a really sort of like close, intimate sound. And then I brought up the mid and turned off the far mics, so I got less of the room and more of the tone of them. So, you know, but the Symphony series also has a baby brother, which is the Symphony String Ensemble. There you go. So you've got the Symphony series, and then the Symphony. I forgot what it's called. The Essential, basically. You can save £200 by getting the Essentials if you're not going to do scoring stuff. I'm very particular about what I want from my sound, so I like to have that control. But you can do it however you want to do it, you know. Right, I'm talking too much. And yeah, there's just counter melody stuff going on here. So like, it's to complement the strings, so it's not playing the same thing as the strings. There you go, you can see that there. It's mirroring itself there. I don't think they're playing. Oh, they are. They're just playing the same thing there. But you can hear how sort of like the idea is you're creating textures. You're sort of like complementing what's going on in the song. So if I add in the bit that I just, if I add in everything in that is like acoustic guitar and vocals, and put it with those string parts, now you'll hear how that's complementing everything else that's going on.
And there was a nightmare that blamed on the gates. It was brutal and lethal and slowly invades. The medical facts were ignored or forgot.
Also note that this is very much in the background. There's a lot going on and it's beautiful, but it's very much in the background. And the dynamic thing that you could see, that little knob, is very much turned all the way down at this point, so that there is room to bring it up as the song gets louder. Yeah, that's what's going on there. What's this? Big bass thud. This is again from the Symphony series. This is like a bass drum from the Percussion Symphony series. Really, really nice sound. Again, I'll have gone into the mixer. And yeah, so spot mic, which is the mic that's sort of like far away, pointing at it. A close mic, and then stereo, so you've got that boominess going around. If I took any of those out, you'd hear the difference actually with this particular instrument. So if I take the spot mic out, you'll hear the difference. There you go. You can hear the attack of that. If I take the stereo out, and the close, and the spot, oh, there you can hear it. So you can hear like they're different sounds. but with the three together, you get this sort of like very thuddy sound. That's why I paid the extra for it. You know, you don't need that if you don't want that particular specificness. You can get rid of it, but you know, and pay 200 quid for the Symphony series. But at that point, you might as well buy one of Spitfire's libraries, because they're really good libraries. You know, there are other libraries you can get. It's just that Symphony Essentials is really good. The Symphony series, which is the big boy brother of that, is so much better. Great for scoring stuff like this. We've got this nice brass part, which again I think is from one of the oh no, this is from Session Horns Pro. It's a nice little. So what's happening is it's triggering articulations. Again, it's not a real trumpet. None of them are real. It's all down to the way you play it and the way you articulate it. Again, this is all, you can see all the automation happening down here. I'm triggering it with this note, and then the notes are up here. It sounds terrible on its own, but when you put it in the mix, it sounds really nice. What else is going on? Building up, obviously there's that bass thud you've seen. There's a field drum, again from the Symphony series. Let's grab it. You're not going to hear this the same again. That bit going into how far we've got, dun, 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 falls out of time, and I could not fix it in the mix. So when you hear these things on their own, you're going to be like, that sounds really out of time. It's because it is. Right, let's give it a go. Let's play that for you. The other good thing about the Symphony series, not the Symphony Essentials, is there are more round robins. Give you a nerdy thing. Basically, the more round robins you have, the more variation you have in the sample. That's why down here you're seeing the hits go across, because it's picking different hits each time it hits, so it doesn't sound like the same sample over and over again. Again, I've messed with the settings here so that I can get the sound I want out of the room. I wanted this to sound like a big snare drum marching through a field, so I've used like the far mics and the stereo a lot more. And there's like this really nice snare roll in this. In a second you'll hear it. It's like a flam and then a snare roll. This Symphony series is just beautiful for orchestral parts. There is a wood block somewhere. Here we go. There's a vibra-slap here. Because I've got one, and I like to use a vibra-slap if I own a vibra-slap. Here we go. What a jolly sound. Definitely doesn't belong there, but I wanted a crash. And I tried a crash. I tried a and it just didn't work. So I used the vibra-slap instead. Does its job. Symbolises the start of a bar. That's all it exists for. And then, yeah, there's these brass hits. Again, you're always trying to add more with orchestral parts. If you're doing something like this where there's a big crescendo, then there needs to be a big crescendo. And so these brass hits are, again, I think Symphony series, probably Symphony series. Yes, they are a Symphony series brass ensemble. That's the mixer for them because it's the ensemble version. And I've deliberately picked which way I want it to sound. But the whole point is this is the big crescendo. So I love the. Can we just take a second to appreciate the plugin design? Look at the color of that. It's like a brassy color. I love it. So yeah, if I play this for you, you're going to hear just it played out, the same notes played out over like 4 or 5 octaves, just to add a bit of oomph. And they're playing decrescendo, so they're hitting a big crescendo and then coming down. Here we go. You'll hear them now. They're very big. Give it this sort of like big moment, and you combine that with the solo brass. It's not actually that good. It's not played that well. But yeah, so they're going on. And that's your big orchestra. I did say earlier, hello, someone Harriman, like the stream. Neil Harriman, hi Dad. Right, so let's talk one more thing, which is that reverb, and then I'm just going to let it play out one more time for you to listen to as we finish off the stream. If you've enjoyed this, I'll be posting highlights on social media, mostly on TikTok, because to be honest, TikTok tends to be the way it goes viral, so to speak. But if you've enjoyed this, do look for the highlights. Right, so I was saying about the reverb being really important for making these sounds sound real. So obviously, the symphony series stuff has its own built-in reverb, and I can turn it up or down. I think I have a little bit messed with them. You know, even this will have its own sort of like reverb somewhere. There you go. And Native Instruments are very good at picking reverbs and making the reverb sound nice. But I've sent everything to that big RC24 as well, which before it has like a EQ to take all the low end out, because otherwise you end up, if you do this trick, if you do steal this trick and send, using a send, there's a send there in the corner. Those of you watching me on Twitch can't see it because it's in the wrong place. Let me open up my mixer view so you can see it. These sends here, you can see them ascending to bus 32. That's everything going to that big reverb. Here we go, big reverb, nice. And before the reverb, I am sending it into an EQ. I can show you why here now if I solo the reverb. If I take the EQ off, you'll hear it. If I put the EQ back in, see how it became a lot more manageable. All the low frequencies sort of like stop competing for space in the reverb, because low frequencies, particularly, you know, if you yell in a space that's got a load of reverb, next time you're in a church, or maybe don't yell in a church, but next time you're somewhere that's got a big sounding reverb, your school hall, or you know, your garage. I don't know how big your garage is. If you're posh and you've got a big garage. Anyway, long story short, go yeah and go yeah, and hear how different those two sound in the same space, and so that's why we've got all that low end. I will show you one more time now I've explained it a bit better, and you'll understand why that's doing that. And then I'm going to play you the strings section. In fact, I'll play you the whole track, and I'll take the reverb send out, and you'll hear just how much of a difference that this one send trick is doing to me, which is sending everything to the reverb. That's it without the low end taken out. Oh, with the low end taken out. Without. So you can hear how it's, as soon as you take out the low end, it becomes a lot more palatable. and if anything, a bit more subtle. So I was going to show you one final thing, which was that reverb being taken out, that bus send being taken out. So let's go back a little bit in the track to how far we've got over the years. Here we go.
Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay.
So
Sing if you're happy.
what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it playing, is I'm going to take out this bus, this one here, which is bus 32, and that's the one that's basically the reverb that's going over everything and acting as like a glue. And then what I'll do is I'll also take out the vocal supporting delays so that you don't get distracted by them, and you will hear how much of a difference it makes.
They preach their hate speech as the world moves backwards while we march down the streets. We shout we are here and we stand for all rights. And if
Can you guys hear how much drier that sounds? Do you know what I mean by dry? I'll play it a little bit earlier and I'll put it in. I'll take it out. I've taken it out now.
So won't you sing?
You can hear it massively on the vocal, actually, to be fair. But I'll take it out, and then I'll do like a hand signal when I put it back in, and you can hear. I want you to hear how much more glued together all the sounds become. Because that's what this trick is about. It's about gluing the sound together and making everything sound like it's natural, even though it's all fake. Yes, that's the secret. None of this is live. Right, here we go.
Won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way.
Did you feel that? If you've got headphones on, you'll feel that.
And how far we've got over the years, since 78 when this song hit our ears. But there's still lots to do till our work is done, fighting for freedom and for everyone. The bigots have phobias, they preach their hate speech.
I'm just going to leave this to run so you hear how much of a difference it makes with these big stops here.
And we stand for all rights, and if you spread hate in our way, we're ready to fight. And won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're...
Right, I'm going to play that same bit now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the reverb back in and the delay on the vocal, and you will hear the difference, hopefully. And if you don't, well, there's still more for you to learn. Pop your headphones on the highlights and check it out, because you will hear the difference. This is the difference now.
And we stand for all rights, and if you spread hate in our way, we're ready to fight. And won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Sing if you're...
That's what you're missing if you take it out, is all this sort of like air in the... So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show you, was that it's much more exciting when you add in the reverbs. Anyway, that's just a sort of mixing tip. There's loads of little mixing tips, and hopefully something I've said here today is useful. If it wasn't, we've had a nice time together, haven't we, folks? Right, I am gonna sort of bring this stream to an end unless anyone has any more questions. I hope you've had a lovely time here. I've had a great time, actually. I definitely want to do more of these. If you have enjoyed the stream, search me up. You can drop me a little tip in my virtual tip jar by going to paypal.me/JamesAndAGuitar. And that'll give me a little tip to say thank you. If not, just share this with your friends. Go and stream the single. Glad to Be Gay is out now. And hopefully something I've said today has been useful for you. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and we're going to listen to the track one more time. We're going to listen to it on Spotify. Thank you so much for tuning in to my little stream today. I've been James Harriman. You've been wonderful. Stay safe, stay well. Till the next time. Bye.
The British police are the best in the world. I don't believe one of these stories I've heard about them raiding gay pubs for no reason at all, lining the customers up by the wall, picking out people and knocking them down, resisting arrest as they're kicked to the ground, searching their houses and calling them queer. I don't believe that sort of thing happened here. So won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Then there was a nightmare that blamed on the gays. It was brutal and lethal and slowly invades. But medical facts were ignored or forgot by bigots who thought it the judgment of God. Attacked by the Vatican, even today. Turns out it's not always good to be gay. Now HIV's treatable, it's not a death wish. Still misinformation when spread is hard to dismiss. So won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Still, for many years now, we've fought for the right for people to love just whoever they like, and to hold an identity that's true to them. It's not black or white, or just women or men. If gay liberation means freedom for all, then we fight for all voices, no matter how small. It's getting debated in Parliament courts. What bathroom you use is now matter of law. So won't you sing if you're glad to be gay? Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. And how far we've got over the years, since 78 when this song hit our ears. But there's still lots to do till our work is done, fighting for freedom and for everyone. The bigots have phobias, they preach their hate speech. As the world moves backwards, well, we march down the streets. We shout we are here and we stand for all rights. And if you spread hate in our way, we're ready to fight. So sing it louder! And won't you say